Welcome back to NTV News First Edition. Well, you've probably heard of the term BMI, or Body Mass Index. It's a mathematical formula that's been widely used since around the 1970s. I think it was created in the 1800s to measure a person's weight status. Well, this week, in a groundbreaking report published in the Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology, 58 international experts challenged the reliance on BMI. And joining me now to discuss what this means is Dr. Janine Hubbard in this week's Get Psyched. It's great to see you.
Well, likewise. And I'm excited we're covering this because it's about time.
It's about time. So what are the main criticisms of using BMI as a measure of weight status?
Well, it may be a measure of weight status, but it is not an effective measure of health status. And so essentially it's taking your height, taking your weight, dividing them and saying you are healthy, you are unhealthy. Here are the categories we're going to put you in. And we know that that doesn't necessarily reflect reality. You can have people living in larger bodies that are extremely healthy. You can have people in average to very slender bodies who are actually incredibly unhealthy and have a lot of health risk factors. We also know it has been, again, designed mostly on kind of a Eurocentric white body build. So it doesn't reflect perhaps athletes, people who have, higher muscle mass. It definitely doesn't reflect the weight distribution in different ethnic groups. But in particular, it is often used as the one and only measure of health in determining things like eligibility for different surgeries or health procedures. Or, I mean, I was asked about it when I was applying for my very first mortgage, and they wanted insurance on that plan. And it wasn't looking at what are your health factors, what are your risk factors. It was being used as a shortcut, and we all like shortcuts, but what we've learned is this one is really discriminatory and doesn't give us useful information about someone's health status.
So then, now that we know this, how might this report then change the way we address weight and health?
Well, I'm hoping, again, going to start to decrease some of that stigma, because there is often an association of, well, if you're in a bigger body, you're unhealthy, you must have chronic health conditions, you must have a poor diet, you must not exercise. And we all know that's not always the case. But what it can do is look at things like, well, what's your cholesterol? What's your blood pressure? What is your risk of diabetes? What is your risk of some of these other health conditions that we know can be associated with extra weight? And so as opposed to making assumptions based on a number, it's really breaking it down and looking at even things like where is extra weight distributed on a body can make a difference in terms of potential risk factors. So it's looking at it, a very targeted health treatment, not just an assumption about weight times height and divided and,
But as you said, it's kind of the easy formula, isn't it? It's quick and easy. So what are the alternative methods then, quick methods, to figure out if you're healthy or if you're not?
Well, it's looking beyond weight. It's looking beyond body mass, and it is looking at things like what's your family history, what's your build, what's your genetic risk, but maybe are you someone who's showing some signs of pre-diabetes? And maybe that's an area that then you can have some interventions looking at it. So it's actually looking at saying, okay, you might be at higher risk, you might not, but let's look at some of those chronic health conditions and let's really break it down and then target interventions based on those specific disease risk factors, not just body size.
I mean, it must have been, it has been for you, I'm sure it certainly has been for me, what it does to your self-esteem, to your mental health, looking at this BMI number.
There is no question. And again, listen, am I as healthy as I possibly could be? Because for people who can't distribute, yes, I am short and I am wide. Guess what? My numbers don't translate terribly well on these measures. But that doesn't look at things like what's my cardiovascular health? How much physical exercise do I get? What does my diet look like? And it's looking at some of those factors. I do have to give a major shout out to my colleagues at the Janeway Lifestyles program, because when it first started, the idea was, oh, well, it's for kids with obesity. No, that is not one of the criteria that they use. They look at risk factors for chronic disease management. Either early signs, trying to get in and intervene early. Yes, it's teaching healthy lifestyle issues, but it's really looking at from a chronic disease management perspective, not purely a BMI body weight perspective. And they've done amazing work. And so hopefully we'll continue to see that approach used in far more areas and BMI not used as an exclusionary and discriminatory cutoff.
All right, Dr. Janine Hubbard, I feel better already. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks.